Okay, so this is probably the podcast that Dave and I never planned to do, never wanted to do. I don't think anybody wants to have this discussion, but it's something that needs to be said. Obviously, as we all know, that Eddie has passed. We all knew he had some health issues, for sure, nothing, and serious ones. I guess in all our minds, we kind of thought that we were getting inklings that he's sort of, he's doing all right. He's not perfect, but he's doing all right. And he's sort of hanging in, and he's all right. And, I think about a year ago at this time, we were all getting very nervous. And about a year ago at this time or so, and getting this news, I don't think I would have been as surprised. I was bracing myself at the time, but then, like anybody who gets sick, you see them endure and you hope that they get better and they get stronger. And, someone with a spirit as strong as Eddie's, and also a man as young as he was at 65, you don't expect to go. When I got the news that he had died this afternoon, immediately, because of the internet, you think it's a hoax, right? You immediately think it's a hoax. Is this real? Come on. You know what I mean? You get that kind of vibe, and,
I think that was the first question I asked you when you sent it to me.
How is this? Is this real? And it always seems to be TMZ who announces these things. I don't know what they have. It's like they have a bug in everybody's house. But TMZ is like everywhere. And it's incredible how they do that. But we don't know exactly what went down. But obviously his cancer overtook him. And it's a devastating loss. It's a devastating loss of a man that did so much and gave so much to everybody who listens to this podcast. I mean, the whole goddamn podcast is based on this man. So, I mean, the first thing I thought about, to be honest with you, was Wolf. And Alex, of course. And Janie, of course. But, I was just thinking of Wolf. I guess, I don't know, maybe because, I have sons and Dave has sons. And, you think of, the bond that those two had, which was... I mean, not only was it his son, who was his only kid, he was his bandmate. I mean, they called their company, the Three Twins, right, Dave? I mean, between Ed Allen and Wolf. And, I mean, it's like between the three of them, they were like bigger than life at this point. And my God, Van Halen was made up of three Van Halens at this point. And, Wolf had become such a fixture in the band. And I have to say, what I loved so much about all of this is Eddie was so fucking happy when he was playing with Wolf and his brother. And it's almost to the point where it didn't even matter who was on the fucking mic, that those three were so locked in. I mean, they rehearsed over and over and over, and they had everything so down, and they were so tight. And I'm just going to read this tweet from Wolf, which was just heartbreaking. He just says, "I can't believe I'm having to write this, but my father, Edward Lodgewick Van Halen, has lost his long and arduous battle with cancer this morning. He was the best father I could have asked for. Every moment I've shared with him, on and off the stage, was a gift. My heart is broken, and I don't think I'll ever fully recover from this loss. I love you so much, Pop." And, I mean, it's so clear that the kid just absolutely fucking adored his dad. And, I mean, and Val, tweeted, actually not long before this podcast. Dave, you want to read Val's tweet? That was unbelievable.
Yeah, this is, I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
I just, I had to, regroup for a second.
I know.
But,
it took your breath away.
Yeah. So, Val writes, 40 years ago, my life changed forever when I met you. You gave me the one true light in my life, our son, Wolfgang. Through all your challenging treatments for lung cancer, which is very interesting, by the way.
Yeah.
You kept your gorgeous spirit and that impish grin. I'm so grateful Wolfie and I were able to hold you in your last moments. Also very interesting.
Yep.
I will see you in our next life, my love. That was and I mean, and I have been on VH Links.
Yes.
For the better part of the day.
Yeah.
And that tweet, I mean, grown men were crying. I mean, that was I mean, grown men have been crying all day.
Yeah.
But that one was
wow.
I mean, what do you say? Through all their ups and downs.
Yeah.
She still had love and respect for him.
Yeah.
And it's hard because, we knew his health was up and down and it wasn't the best. But, we always had this hope that he was going to come back and tour again and that he had it under control.
Yeah. Yeah. Just give him time. Just give him time.
Right.
Yeah.
And, he's always been notoriously private, so no one, really ever knows what's going on. And apparently, according to TMZ, it was a real downward spiral the last 72 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe that's what, let me go back to TMZ because I don't want to misquote anything. But so they say, quote unquote, we're told in the last 72 hours, Eddie's ongoing health battle went massively downhill. Doctors discovered his lung cancer had moved to his brain as well as other organs.
Oh.
So, yeah, it just sounded like it went from bad to worse. Now, Val had said lung cancer, which was interesting.
Right.
So I guess, it just spread and, cancer's a bitch, man.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, despite all of Ed's demons and battles he had over the years, it was cancer that ultimately took him.
Yeah. Well, that's heartbreaking.
It just sucks.
And we have a tweet from Sammy, heartbroken and speechless. My love to the family. A Instagram from Mike, no words, heartbroken. My love to the family. Interesting tweet from Gary. Whether you were blessed to know him or not, he was a kind and gentle soul. His impact on all our lives was immeasurable. His music, eternal. My deepest sympathy to the Van Halen family. Love you, Ed. # long live the king.
And one more, David Lee Roth just tweeted.
Oh, he just did?
About less than an hour ago.
Okay.
But he tweeted very simply, what a long, great trip it's been. And there's a picture of him and Ed backstage from the 2007 tour.
Wow. Well, I tell you, look, this is immense because, let's be honest, Eddie is incredibly special. Look, his technique, you don't even have to say anything about his technique because it's been spoken about so much and he's so beyond. But in addition to his guitar technique, what made him so special was he had a passion and a love for the instrument that really extended beyond any other guitarist that I knew. I mean, look, Dave and I have seen the best of the best, Page, Clapton, all these people, and they're all unbelievable, and they're talented, and they're incredible. But I have never seen a guitarist so obsessed with his instrument. I mean, Eddie was never without that guitar. That thing was like an appendage. I mean, it was like part of his body. You know what I mean? It's incredible. And I mean, think about, he had what you call almost a homemade sound. The way he would build his own guitars and take them apart and rebuild them. And I mean, the man would play 2 hours at a Coliseum, an arena, and then go back to the hotel. And while everybody was partying downstairs, he was on the edge of his bed playing and recording. I mean, he was a wild man in that regard, for sure. He was passionately obsessed with the guitar. And listen, his sound was so unique because there was a crunch to Ed's playing, but it was also married with this kind of blues feel with some, special effects kind of thrown in there. That's what made it so unique. And he was also, in addition, the whole Van Halen story is the embodiment of the American dream, the way these kids came over. I mean, he's not even that old to say these things, but his kids came over on a boat from Holland, and they landed in California and made this life for themselves with these immigrant parents, and grew up and just sticking together and playing music all throughout, him and Al. I mean,
it's just amazing what he did.
It's unbelievable.
It really is the American dream.
Yeah, it is.
What he did.
It is.
And how determined and focused he was, and he wasn't afraid to experiment or fail. I mean, this guy would destroy guitars to figure out how they worked to get the sound that was in his head.
Yeah.
And I think that's, one of the valuable lessons you can learn from Eddie Van Halen is just keep wanting to learn, to ask questions, to explore, and not give a damn what anyone thinks.
Right.
I mean, Ed did not care.
No.
He just did not. You're right.
Well,
I mean,
yes.
he was on